a new variant. Omaha, Corona, Hut 1, Hut 2, nothing infects the Super Bowl and nothing stops football.
Racism, greed, trauma to brain and spine. And yet, I cannot look away. Heroes are dead. Science has their heads. Oh, is there no escape from here? I need to know. It eats my soul. Nothing stops me and Is this heaven or hell? I can't tell. It's human cockfighting. CTE prayer circles. They blackballed the blackballer. They tried to end racism by stenciling it in the end zone. Billionaire boys using millionaires as toys. It's all immoral, all unethical. Ooh, the witching hour. Nothing stops the NFL. Is this heaven or hell? I can't tell. It's Urban and Snyder and Flores and Gruden, but Kyler, but Kelsey, but Cooper, but Canton. It's cheating and tanking and bounties and banking, but parlays, but face paint, but promo, but earnings.
Here we go. This one's for all the glory. Give it your best, it's all you got. Don't look back. Oh, it's all part of the story. You talk the talk, now walk the walk. Yeah.
When the game's on the line, will you have the guts to make the call? When it's crunch time, will you make us scream, God bless football?
From the back of every bar, or the subway, on the streets or in your car, wherever you have found yourself, scream out your battle cry. I'm all in. I'm all in.
What is happening in here today isn't in any way reasonable. Chris, Cody, and Billy are just do-si-doing all over the studio because the Dolphins are 2-0. There are other football things to talk about.
There are? Like what?
The Sunday
Name
ticket
one.
crashed. The Sunday ticket crashed, and our national
Don't
addiction.
get me started on Sunday Ticket. Are they a sponsor of the show by chance?
No
I don't think
idea.
they were last year, but
Well,
not this year.
everyone-
Because they should be paying me to not trash them on TV because that's what I'm going to do.
How
today.
long did you lose it for? Because the addiction, you start scratching if everybody else is watching football and you're not watching football. How long was it down?
It just didn't work from the jump, and then it completely stopped working for like 20 minutes. So I was watching the Dolphins game, which was the only game on locally, but it was the crappy part of the Dolphins game. So I watched the Ravens score like 21 unanswered points on the Dolphins, and then Red Zone came back finally in time to see the Steelers shit the bed on a potential game-winning drive. And then the Dolphins-Ravens suddenly became interesting again, and I wasn't even watching it.
When you're surrounded by this, Jessica, because Billy and Chris are unreasonable in their fandom right now, and you realize you got Trubisky and you're going to 14-point fart your way down the season, unless Kenny Pickett becomes a savior, which he might be. But otherwise, the Steelers are going to be uninteresting all season. Are you bothered that you can sort of feel that unless Pickett saves the season, it's going to be a lot of not feeling like this room does after one quarter yesterday?
Like, am I jealous of Dolphins fans?
You should be.
Generally, no, not at all. I am disappointed. It's not just Mitch Trubisky. It's just that, like, the offense doesn't really give me anything. Like, it's not, like, the play calling is just so, maybe they have offensive weapons, though, so it's confusing. I know it's like when your quarterback can't get the ball downfield, it doesn't matter. But, like, Deontay Johnson's really good. I think Chase Claypool's really good. I really like George Pickens. Like, they have weapons. Najee Harris is good, but the offensive line is bad, and Mitch Trubisky.
But welcome to 20 years of Dolphins football on offense, and why these guys are excited today. It's because they've got wide receivers, and Greg Cody, Homer Cody, has gone off the deep end and now is making it. It's Marino, it's Duper, it's Clayton.
Best
quarter,
since, I think, is what he's saying.
He did say they'd make it to the Super Bowl in his defense. I agree with him.
And win
Yes.
the Super Bowl.
Right.
And
Yes.
both of you said, and win the Super Bowl.
How we looking today? I mean,
Well,
talk of the NFL.
you know, win a few more, and then we can talk.
What?
Carolina started 3-0 last season.
They did?
It's just it's the manner of performance. It's the manner of the comeback that has you this level of enthusiastic.
Oh,
it's
no,
having
but
your
you're-
quarterback
It's who you
going
did
for
it against,
460
No,
too.
but
yards.
you're yeah, they never win in Baltimore.
Right.
By the way, again, I sound like I'm shitting on this. Baltimore had their starting 4 defensive backs out in the game. That's why Tyreek Hill was open for 10 yards. That's not supposed to happen.
All right,
They were
but
healthy, that doesn't happen.
But again, you had an MVP at quarterback who had 420 yards, 4 touchdowns, and no
you just
interceptions,
shut
and
up
you
today,
lost.
Witty?
I knocked it up. You just want to be right about
No,
Tua.
all right,
Let me have this. It's the best game of my life as a Dolphins fan.
Amazing.
Well, technically, if you really do the math on their roster construction yesterday, there was many injuries to the.
He's not wrong though.
Enough.
I saw Jason Peters out there. He's good.
Right.
Marcus Peters, that's a fun.
Whatever.
We were
cares?
all
Jason Peters,
there was
offensive
a
lineman.
Peters
Damn
out
it.
there, and you felt
You're
comfortable.
2-0, man.
It was his first game since 2020.
Don't let this guy rattle you. His football doesn't even use
Stay
hands. What the
strong.
hell does he know?
Right, exactly.
Whittingham, do you realize that Peters inherited previous credibility from the previous Peters, because Chris Cody just thought there's a Peters in coverage. That guy must know what he's doing. I've seen him, but it's not that Peters.
I thought his name was Mark Us Peters, not Mark Peters.
What are the other games yesterday?
The Dolphins game.
The
That's it.
No, the Lions. I mean, Lions fans have to be excited that their team can score.
Yeah.
I think because the Raiders are now 0-2, so I think we might have to put are the Raiders for real to bed. But are the Lions for real?
They are, without a doubt.
Well,
They
isn't
beat Washington.
isn't the Sun
They
God?
destroyed Washington.
Oh.
Isn't St. Brown like the first receiver ever? He's got 8 catches or more in 8 straight games, which means like nobody knows that the Lions have buried him, but he's putting up numbers in that league. He can't be covered.
He had 9 catches, 116 yards, 2 touchdowns yesterday, and he ran for 70 yards. Goff was really, really good yesterday. I mean, McVay, it's going to be interesting to see how this plays out, because Stafford's going to be out of the league soon, and Goff is still going to be going strong.
The overreaction Monday.
I think he already won, though, because they won a Super Bowl with Matthew Stafford.
You
I don't know.
just took Goff. What are you doing?
But they shouldn't have won that Super Bowl. Stafford made a colossal mistake last year against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The Bucs should have won that game. That should have been an interception. Stafford never wins the Super Bowl.
But what are you doing?
I'm just talking about Jared
took
Goff.
off
I mean, it's a Monday.
Stugotz literally thought you were talking about golf because I think Max Homa won some tournament yesterday.
What a shot by
Yeah,
Max.
he's great. Yeah, it's
And
our
he's about
guy.
to have a kid, too.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Exciting time in his life.
Yeah, for the homies, for all of us.
Golf. Goff. Got it.
Goff is playing well, though. I mean, give him some credit.
You're going to continue to
Are you saying
I don't know.
golf or golf? I'm like Jessica's
Say
right.
Jared Goff.
double
I mean,
down on.
I still don't know what word you're saying.
You're going to take yesterday's results and the first 2 weeks of the season, and you're going to get out there strong with all of the takes of I love Jared Goff now, one of the worst quarterbacks in the league, and also the Rams made a mistake in getting rid of Jared Goff. Even what you realized while you were saying it, even though they won the Super Bowl last year.
Yeah.
And won yesterday.
And like you realized as you were saying it, the ridiculousness of where it is you.
I did,
Just to clarify, Stugotz, say the name of the sport that you play at your country club.
Golf.
That's not how you
That's
usually
not how you say it.
That is not-
Ask me again.
It is the word that solicits your New York accent the most. Golf.
It's a GA sound.
Golf.
All right, thank
Yeah,
you. Say
golf.
the quarterback of the Lions.
Goff.
Yep. All right.
Stugotz
Thank
comes
you.
in here today. He's been gone for a week, and he comes in here today with
Jared Goff takes.
not just Jared Goff takes, but also, and this
Having a
is
season.
just in general. He's been traveling the globe with the Grateful Dead, and he hasn't been paying attention to things that aren't Grateful Dead. And he comes in here today and he says, I want to come out and publicly thank football. And then
Yes.
the next sentence right after that is, football is exhausting.
It really is. Like I am telling you, after the witching hour, I am exhausted. I don't feel like watching football. I'm exhausted, but I can't sleep. I'm pacing around. I'm nervous. I can't believe what I just saw. We've never seen a witching hour which featured the Dolphins and the Jets at the exact same time. It was mesmerizing. It is exhausting, but at a time where I do want to thank football because I need it. Football, I need you now more than I've ever needed you.
Yeah.
I have dropped off my daughters at college. My house is silent. I have nothing to look forward to. The only thing I have to look forward to is football. And I am so thankful for Thursdays, Sundays, little doubleheader on Monday night tonight. I need football in my life more than I've ever needed it because a lot of the most important things in my life have been taken away from me. But you know who's always there for me, Dan? Football. 1 o'clock, 4 o'clock, 8 o'clock, doubleheader tonight, gambling, fantasy, DraftKings. They are always I don't drop them off at college. They stay right in my house, and I watch them every Sunday. Football, thank you, and I love you.
Stugotz, when I went to college very recently, because I am very young, I got in the habit of calling my dad around the weekends just to talk about Notre Dame football games or Clemson games or Steelers, Bears games, whatever, all of my teams, the Broncos now. And it became like a little weekly ritual. And football really keeps people together, Stu. So I wonder if you're going to have any football traditions now. Unfortunately, Northwestern lost this weekend to Southern Illinois, but I imagine you'll be going to some games, right, with your daughter?
I don't think they're the
Salukis.
There's the Salukis.
Yeah, the Salukes.
So you were going,
Right.
Salukis were shortened into Salukes.
Yeah.
But Syracuse won this weekend.
Syracuse did. That was a big win. Aronde Gadsden's son with a game-winning catch there. Perhaps we should have him on. I don't know. That'd be a nice local story right there. Listen, I am not going to have any weekly traditions. And Dad, like if you're listening, don't even think about calling me during Sundays, okay? I mean, just don't even think about it. My dad loves to ruin a good Sunday. He does. He talks about pickleball.
It would have been more your daughters, I think, the story she was trying to relate to you.
Yeah.
Yeah, they better not call either. Yeah.
You don't like enjoying
Fair.
football with people?
No.
Really?
No. Nope.
I call my dad all the time during football.
No.
Sundays.
Do you really?
Yeah, it's the
Why?
greatest.
He hates
was,
it.
He was.
Is your dad anti to it too?
Yes, actually.
You two
Yeah,
are
we-
the
Right.
worst.
We've come together
Yeah.
on this
Well,
one.
don't do me a
These
favor.
two,
Don't record that conversation.
So
for me.
you called Dad yesterday and talked about all the Ravens
they
defensive
should-
backs
no,
are out.
You should start recording your father. I want to hear these conversations
Oh,
as
God.
content.
Please
you
don't
talking
play
to your
that.
dad. No, because you've got to be on the other side of this, Whittingham, because it is. Stay strong. It's one quarter, Whittingham.
Oh,
it's
knock it
one
off.
Enough
quarter.
of that.
It was a glorious quarter.
We know how Witty is. His dad. I mean, is your dad like you?
No.
Oh God, imagine that.
Witty.
Imagine that
What's
conversation.
He like? VV?
What does that mean?
Witty, you come in, you're 1 quarter from being right. 3 quarters into that game, they were down 3 touchdowns. And today they're the talk of the NFL in one unreasonable, hyperventilating quarter. And people are looking. Where's the guy who's going to say the negative Tua thing? You're not going to find him today. Stephen A. Smith has wandered over. Oh, I can't believe how Tua is slinging it. Miami is a national team. We haven't had this feeling here in 20 years.
It was a great quarter. It was a great game. I honestly
Great quarter. It was just a great game.
He had 6 touchdowns.
It was.
I'll give him it was a great quarter.
It was a
One
great
bad pass.
game.
One bad pass.
Two bad passes.
No, the
had
other
a couple bad
interception was
passes.
not
The
his
part I watched
fault.
wasn't
That
that good.
interception was a deflection.
In the
Well,
first half, he had a
listen,
few bad. He
he
wasn't
did-
great in the first
yeah.
half.
He did underthrow Tariq Hill on both those deep passes.
Not the
but
second
You
one.
shut
What-
the hell up.
listen,
You
what
shut
he-
your
what he
mouth
lacks
right
in
now.
arm strength, he
Over
makes
here,
up
Joe
for in
Flacco.
guts and guile and heart.
And
okay?
moxie.
And moxie. And winning.
He was great yesterday. But that, so far in his career, is an atypical performance. It is. And so
Not with Mike McDaniel.
What's their record the last 11 games?
they're 10-1 in their last
Yeah.
11
Oh,
games.
okay.
Yep. Winner.
Curious.
But then they go on the road against Tennessee towards the end of the season. They got hammered.
Yeah, that seems to be the outlier.
Yeah.
Except for 3 quarters yesterday when you were resigned to being a
Is it a
Dolphin
three-
fan.
is
Is it
Shootout
a
yesterday.
3-quarter game, Dan? Just out of, is it? Did we play a 3-quarter game?
Yep.
Can we look
No.
at
Right
Billy's
to the final
can
whistle,
Billy-
Dan.
Chris, can you take Billy's
through the
phone
finish line.
and show me what he was texting at? Like, I want to see what his phone was saying. Superfan Billy, who bought a Tua shirt today,
A jersey.
a jersey. Excuse me.
That's an extended level of commitment. Just a shirt is. Yeah.
It's
it might
also
be
for
too-
God. It's also for God Bless Football, so you could charge
That's
that thing
getting
to the game.
expensive. Yeah, that's crazy.
Eddie, play by you.
Oh, yeah, that's getting expensive.
I want to read your texts that you were sending people when it was 35-14 before.
Hold on, I talk a lot of shit about you guys.
Tua was amazing yesterday. Period. The end.
No, I want to see about the time that they were throwing to River K. Craft is where it is that I want.
Kraft.
He's good.
I have texts here about Father of the Bride with Anthony too, but I don't know if you want those. That movie.
I want someone to take your phone because I think you're going to take me through your phone the most meandering parts that don't actually show me anything. I believe that you weren't pro Tua in that 3rd quarter yesterday. I don't believe you were buying a jersey. I believe you'd made that decision in the 4th quarter yesterday as a Peters,
It was after the game, for sure.
As the wrong Peters was running.
I was searching at
11:30.
11:30 at night. I was searching
Right.
on Twitter just to see the blue check marks and what they were saying about Tua and how much crow was being eaten yesterday. So great.
Would he take up the lane? It's Chris Sims. It's Chris Long. Chris Long is willing to get his tattoo.
Bill Simmons has been very anti-Tua as well. And there are times where that fan side of me comes out where I want to defend my guy, but I haven't really felt the inclination until yesterday. Now, I still have to work more towards it. I have to develop more of that emotional connection towards Tua.
Oh, yeah, we don't want you to stay over there.
I haven't had it yet.
Now, guess
But-
what? This isn't on your timeline, Bucko. It's today or you're out.
Yep.
So make a decision because
Oh,
it's
wow.
not just you get to
That's
decide
aggressive.
to come on whenever you feel like it. Today or you're out.
Wow.
Yep.
Can you get me
That's
into
a
the
man
end
who
of the
owns a
show?
jersey.
I want to
I
take some
mean,
time to deliberate.
You can have a little bit of time, but today is the deadline for everybody.
By the end of the show?
Last day for
Yep.
everyone.
Okay.
Mhm.
The Bengals are 0-2, so now everyone can say that is going to be a reverting to the mean because Joe Burrow probably is not going to be able to be better than Tua was in that 4th quarter if you get him sacked 10 times a game, every game that he is playing.
I mean, he did it last year, all the way to the Super Bowl.
He did, but 0-2 generally is not a hole that gets climbed out of. Matt Ryan in Jacksonville, that is the petering fumes of awful.
Dan, he's 0-2 quickly in a really, well, I would say a bad division. Like the Browns don't get Watson back until week 12. The Steelers aren't very good. We'll see what the Ravens are, but like, I'm not giving up on the Bengals
We'll
yet.
see what the Ravens are.
I mean, listen, they lost to the Dolphins, blew a big lead, 4 safeties out. I mean, I don't know if they're good. Do you? I don't know if anyone's good.
I mean, the
I have
Ravens,
no idea.
The Ravens and Lamar Jackson tend to be pretty good. I mean, they didn't make the playoffs last year, but
No.
The health. All of this goes in the tube if Tyreek Hill sprains an ankle.
Oh, shut up. Enough of this. Chris has my phone, by the way.
I'm looking at a text between Stugotz and Billy.
Yeah.
And it's Stugotz saying, let's call the Dolphins tomorrow, see if we can get Tua, Waddle, and Hill all at the same time.
Yeah. Why not? I mean, little sit down with the three of them.
Round table, yeah.
Who else would
little
want
round
that
table.
today? I don't feel like anyone else is making that ass today.
Right. Yeah.
You made that ask seriously? That had to be.
I'd take one of them. I mean, it doesn't have to be all three.
He's not making the ask.
You
He's
asked for
asking
3.
Billy to make the ask.
No,
come on.
You ask for 3, you get 1, and then it's a win. You know?
Exactly.
He also wants to reach out to the Jets for Flacco.
Yes. I already did, by the way.
Oh, yeah? And
Yeah,
the,
we'll
the
see.
Lions for Campbell and goalie.
We have to have Dan Campbell. We do. I felt so good for Dan Campbell and Jared Goff. I mean,
It
clearly.
is almost soup season.
We're going to bring in Mike Schur here and do stat of the day, but also in the middle of yesterday, when life doesn't go Tom Brady's way, man, he gets angry.
Yeah.
He threw a Microsoft tablet. He picked it up just to throw it. And
He's 2-0. I mean,
I know, but he was furious because for half of the game, they only had a field goal, and that's not good for the brand.
I think he just misses Gronkowski. That for me is what I see in his face as he's yelling at receivers. They're not where they're supposed to be, and I think he's just yelling, "Gronk would be there. Can you just be Gronk, please?"
he'll be there for the playoffs.
Good shout.
And Evans is saying, I can beat Gronk, but not when it's Lattimore. And I'm just going to fight him now. Let's do stat of the day here with Mike Schur. Thank you for joining us. You've got football observations before we get started, don't you? What was the stuff that you were enjoying yesterday?
First of all, what a weekend for this podcast. Am I right?
Yeah.
The Dolphins with a crazy comeback, the Jets with a crazy comeback. You all get to dunk on Whittingham all day for being anti-Tua. 3 of Jessica's 8 favorite teams won, and 5 of them lost, I think. I've lost track.
Thank you.
All I could think the whole weekend was, what a fun football Monday this is going to be for the Dan LeBatard show with Stugotz.
I haven't even mentioned the Miami
I
Hurricanes.
feel like this is a setup for him to poop on us.
Something's coming.
Did you
Oh,
have
he's happy for us, guys.
Nah, I see
Nah,
he's
nah,
smirking.
nah, nah,
He's
nah,
he-
nah.
this
I'm
is
not.
leading somewhere.
Listen, unlike Chris Whittingham, I'm all in. I'm pro Tua. I'm on the
Wow.
bandwagon.
Today was the deadline. I'm glad
Did
you
you-
got it
but
in.
did you
Today's
have,
I've heard today's the deadline, and I'm getting my application in under the wire.
You want a jersey? I can send you one. What size are you?
No, thank you.
Oh.
I'm 40. I'm 46 years old. I'm not going to wear a football jersey.
When's the
around
last
my
time you
house.
wore a jersey? Like ever a Red Sox jersey?
I probably haven't worn an actual jersey. I have some T-shirts that I wear,
Jersey.
Jerseys,
I
yeah.
love a jersey.
jerseys,
Mhm.
but I don't think I've worn I had a Nomar Garcia Parra jersey that I wore in probably 2003 before he was traded. So
no,
it's
no,
probably
no,
been-
no Liverpool jerseys because soccer jerseys kind of wear like shirts.
Yeah, no, I can't. I haven't quite been able to convince myself that it's a good idea for me to wear a Liverpool kit.
What about Dan LeBatard? When's the last time you wore a jersey?
no.
Just
Never?
no.
No,
You've
no,
never worn a
no,
jersey?
No, I would not be
Not even
wearing
in youth
jerseys.
sports. He took his
No.
own shirt.
Wow.
I wore a dress shirt and a tie. I played youth sports. Let's go ahead and do stat of the day with Mike Schur. I do want to talk
Start
more
of the
football
day,
with him, though.
Start of the day. It is your start of the day. Start of the day. Start of the day. It is your start of the day. Start of the day. Start of the day. It is your start of the day. Start of the day. Start of the day. It is your start of the day.
It is brought to you by ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire.
Some of you might have seen this, but Next Gen Stats put out an incredible stat, which was that when Kyler Murray converted that 2-point conversion, he ran a total of nearly 85 yards in order to score 2 points, which is amazing. But that made me wonder, as an unpaid stats intern, who had run the most in a season without scoring a touchdown. And according to StatMuse, in 1978, Joe Washington, Oklahoma Sooner legend Joe Washington of the Baltimore Colts, had 956 yards rushing without scoring a single rushing TD. And if you want to go deep dive on this, the craziest part is there was a Monday night game that year. He played the Patriots. And in the fourth quarter, he returned a kickoff for 90 yards and a touchdown. And in that game, he had also thrown a touchdown and caught a pass for a touchdown. He was the first NFL player ever to throw a TD, catch a pass for a TD, and return a kick for a TD in the same game. So one game, he scored 3 TDs. None of them were on the ground. He didn't score a rushing touchdown the entire season. Also, and I know you'll love this, the coach of that Baltimore Colts team, Ted Marchibroda.
Oh, wow.
One of the great football names of all time.
That's a man who loved to punt. I mean,
Mike, I want to do a little experiment with you before you leave. Can you say Franco Harris's name slowly?
Franco Harris.
Slower.
Franco Harris.
All right, he knows.
Yeah, he knows.
What do I know?
Well, no, he
His
thought
name.
all
His
name. All his life. Chris Cody.
Before
Chris
today, I thought
Cody.
his name was
Franco Harris.
I thought his name was Frank Harris.
He thought he was Irish. Harris. Yes. Why would you ask Mike Schur that?
I need an ally. I'm gonna ask every guest that for the next year.
Okay.
Please do.
All right, that's
You'll get one.
Just
You'll get
like
one.
That, you're gonna ask them. You think you're gonna find someone else who thought?
Oh, of course I'll do that for you, Frank. Oh, Harris. Oh, yes.
Mike, you have written a best-selling book about ethics. You are a world-renowned, internationally known ethicist, and we were talking earlier in the show about what is happening in America. The sports fans are the worst outside of Brown's tailgate, where they feel the need to take the side, not just the side of Deshaun Watson, but vigorously, just to be unpleasant.
Yeah, that was rough. That shot that somebody put on Twitter. I can't believe this. Joe Posnanski, with whom I do the podcast here on Meadowlark Media, is a lifelong Cleveland Browns fan who, like Mike Ryan, abandoned them after they signed Deshaun Watson, is no longer a Browns fan. And if you're interested, he is this entire season is adopting one team a week to see if he can become a fan of another team. This past weekend, it was the Bengals. It didn't work. But I adopted the Browns myself, in part because I like Joe and I want him to be happy. And I have a thing, being a Red Sox fan who suffered greatly until 2004. I have a thing for long-suffering fan bases. I root for the Lions. I rooted for the Bengals kind of in the Super Bowl. Like I'm rooting for the Bills this year. I want them to win. I don't like it when fan bases have to suffer for decades and decades. So I was sort of a Browns fan. I rooted for them to win. And in one swift move, they went for me from being a team that I was rooting for because of their misery and suffering to me hoping that they lose in exactly the way they lost on Sunday every single week. I want their franchise to be humiliated. I want their owner to be humiliated. I want him to have to sell the team. I want them to be gutted each and every Sunday because they have just not only done something awful, but their fan base is now rallying around the guy. And they are acting like it's all just part of the business of being in football, and I think that's unconscionable. So, yeah, I mean that shot of that mannequin or whatever that they set up, and the way in which this tribalism is rallying around a guy who does not deserve to be rallied around is pretty rough. And I hope they lose every game.
Are you hate watching anybody like that? That's rabid for you.
No. Yeah, I mean, I don't hate watch any. I hate watch very few teams. I hate watch the Cowboys, which usually works out pretty well for me, and the Yankees, which usually does not work out well for me. But Joe and I were actually talking about this last week on the show. For some reason, football, and I think this says something very bad about the game of football. It brings out a Schadenfreude bloodlust in me that I don't have in other sports. Like besides the Yankees, there's no other baseball team that I root against that way. There's no basketball team except for, the Miami Heat kind of I root against. but football makes me angry, and it makes me actively root virulently against certain franchises like the Cowboys and the Ravens, and now the Steelers, and now the Browns, the entire AFC North basically, except for the Bengals. So yeah, I don't know what it is about the game. I think it has a tendency to bring out the worst tribalism in all of us.
You're saying that it makes you root against people like that's a bad thing. Like that's the best part about football.
But that's what I'm saying. I don't think you're wrong. I think that to like football is to feel those dark, evil, unpleasant feelings maybe more strongly than you feel the positive feelings for your own team. At least that's the case in my world. Is I think I feel the Emperor Palpatine hatred, and I want to shoot lightning out of my fingers against franchises. Don't worry about it. I think I feel that way more strongly than I do feel the like positive feelings towards the teams that I actually like.
Are you an existentialist?
But that can't be good.
Mike?
That's bad. What's that?
Are you an existentialist?
Jesus.
I have certain existentialist tendencies. Yeah. Why do you ask?
I don't know, because I think we have a similar viewpoint on it, and I probably would consider myself an existentialist. That's all.
Well, he's a world-renowned ethicist.
Stugotz, are you an existentialist, would you say?
I don't know.
By the way, welcome back. How was your
me.
trip? You were gone for like 4 or 5 weeks?
I was gone for 2 weeks. And to answer your question, I love eggs. Yes.
I've got 2 baseball questions for you, Mike. Juan Soto, can you explain to me why he would get to San Diego and after turning down $440 million? Because I think there's a think piece in here somewhere. And now have the slugging percentage, the 15th lowest slugging percentage since getting over there. 23 years old, and everyone associates your name, if they're learning about you outside of baseball for the first time, with he turned down $440 million?
Yeah, it's probably a fluke mixed with switching ballparks, a different batter's eye. That park has historically suppressed offense a fair amount. Some years it's not as bad as other years, but it's not a great park for hitters. But it's a fluke. He'll be back. He'll be fine. It is every great hitter goes through a period of 6 weeks where they don't hit very well, and he happened to go through that period right when he switched teams. He's playing in a different time zone. Like, baseball players are delicate and fragile, and they're creatures of habit, and all of his habits had to change very quickly from the East Coast to the West Coast. I wouldn't read too much into it. He'll still get $440 million or whatever he'll get when he's a free agent. It's sad because they got hit with a double whammy when Tatis did not come back because of the PED thing, and then Soto also didn't perform up to standards. I think they still make the playoffs, and I think they'll probably win their play-in game, and they could still make noise in the playoffs, but it's just a bummer for that franchise that they did this cool thing and they went out and got him, traded a lot of good prospects for him, and he hasn't quite performed up to expectations. But I wouldn't read too much into it. He'll be fine.
Noise being made in the playoffs.
Love it.
Chris Cody, Jessica just whispered in my ear something that made me think. What do you think Franco Harris looks like? When you imagined the running back at the end
because his name is now just Frank
Gore. I'm saying
I was
like,
picturing. I was thinking that you thought he was like a red-haired Irish lad.
Yes.
Well, I'm just. I think
with
I thought
freckles.
I thought Dan was doing the thing like, how many Black Franks do you know? And like, it could be Frank.
Well,
I knew.
You were
But
beating me
no,
with
it's
a
the
punch
O'Harris
before.
part.
Before answering my question,
He's 2 steps
you
ahead, Dan.
defensively said Frank Gore.
Right.
It's not the Frank part that's confusing.
Yeah.
It's the
It's
O'Harris.
The O'Harris makes
He's
him
Irish. Yes.
It makes him look like you.
Okay, so
He
you
looks
guys
like
every
he looks like
historic.
Colin Montgomery.
There's some people you just see. You see, I've only just heard that name. I've
Yeah.
never seen him before.
Chris, you lied preemptively to not be accused
Why
of...
can't Frank Gore be Irish?
It's a good question.
You lied
Franco Gore.
preemptively to stave off accusations of racism.
Can I just be an idiot?
The Jets. Why this team? The Jets. Ah, the Jets! The Jets! Stugotz, what's the matter, buddy?
I mean, Greg, just one time. 40 years I've been rooting for this team, and just one time I wanted my team to play in that big game in that beautiful dome in Los Angeles.
Dome? What about the elements? Back in my day, we didn't play in a dome. Let me tell you, back in my day, we considered football to be an honorable game. We didn't have to pass the ball every single play, and that's how we did it back in my day. It's the cold in December and sweltering two-a-days. It's embracing occasional punts, and don't get me started on instant replay. Now we're cooking with gas. Watch out. I'm not done, by the way. Let me tell you, back in my day, there was no showboating. We respected the game. We sat on a stoop and let the radio play, 'cause that's how we did it back in my day. It's the wishbone I wish for. It's a toss to Red Grange. It's a first down without a taunt. Playing the game the right way. Oh, that's right. No retractable roofs. I'm talking frozen tundras and ice bowls. No Van Brooklyn. That's why they call it football weather. Bud Grant and the Purple People Eaters, ladies and gentlemen. That's how they played the game back in my day. It's Len Dawson enjoying a smoke and a brew during a game. Hank Stram wearing a sports coat. Legalize the clothesline and bring back drop kicks while you're at it. I'm Greg Cody, and that's how it was back in my day. Ba-da-ba-diddly-up. Bop. Ba-da-ba-diddly-up. Bop. Bop. That kind of thing.
That is why, with every fiber of our being, we love the playoffs.
When the best play, trenches face to face, sacrifice life and limb for the Lombardi. If there's a way, Stanford turns it all around. It would have to be LA, it would have to be McVay. What'd you say? Tom Brady, always out. Could he turn it all around now? Turn it all around now. Wipes the blood from his lip. Holy shit, he's gonna do it all again, do it all again. It's time for the playoffs. So grab a beer, I hope it's Miller Lite. It's time for the playoffs, the playoffs. It's time for the good stuff, where every game comes down to guys who kick. It's time for the playoffs, the playoffs, the playoffs.
Ah, the playoffs. Hot goalies, playoff beards, and Lord Stanley. No, Roy, I'm not talking about ice hockey. I'm talking about the NFL playoffs. The gridiron. Winner go home. The ultimate postseason tournament. Here, let me show you. Big Ben's last game. Kyler's feeling shame. Upsets in Green Bay and in Tennessee. There's just no way Prescott's going to the ground. He slid 1 second too late, and they don't have a timeout. Josh Allen, Pat Mahomes, Arrowhead, become personal playgrounds. Too much time, 13 ticks. Holy shit, he's gonna do it all again, do it all again.
It's time for the playoffs. So grab a beer, I hope it's Miller Lite. It's time for the playoffs, the playoffs. It's time
Playoffs sometimes mean having to say goodbye. Even if you're not ready. Careers wind to an end. Mantles taken. Last chapter's written. But stars emerge to write new, exciting stories. For every door that closes, a new one opens. For every immunized quarterback that falls short, there's a young hotshot ready to take his place. There's nothing quite like
Playoffs, the playoffs.
Heavy is the head that wears the crown. I'm talking about the greatest of all time. He can turn it around in just one play. You can watch it all happen in the plays.
The playoffs, the playoffs, it's the playoffs.
Never is afraid. Eyes in his face. The chosen. I'm talking about Evan McPherson. It's time for the playoffs.
It's the playoffs, the playoffs, it's the playoffs.
Evan McPherson? The GOAT? He's a kicker. I mean, Tom Brady's bed's still warm. Tom Brady just left.
You're the greatest of all time. You're the greatest of all time.
He's beautiful in every way. It's out of control.
He throws the ball most accurately and won 7 rings.
So good at quarterbacking, he's meant to our decade teams.
A 6th-round draft pick with a chip on his shoulder and a dimple on his chin.
You're the greatest of all time. You're the greatest of all He broke so many records and reached unattainable goals.
I said he was done 10 years ago when he shoved it down my throat. He played the Jets twice a year and always ripped out their souls. And just like that, he left us all wanting more. He's a certified goat.
You're the greatest of all time. You're the greatest of all time. You're the greatest of all.
The greatest of all time.
The greatest of all time.
I'll spend all night out in Venice. Then make castles in the sand. Santa Monica's calling. But I'm here to cover the Rams. I'll stay in and avoid chateaus.
Mike Ryan has parachuted in from Dallas, where he saw his college football team kick 3 field goals and lose.
Hey, we kicked 5 field goals.
Mm-hmm.
3 went in.
And then you went to go watch Cooper Rush in a stadium that Jessica has dismissed as antiseptic.
That's an interesting take on it. Certainly, look, that stadium holds 100,000 people, and Kyle Field also holds over 100,000 people. And it is a stark difference in terms of atmosphere.
Yes, that's all I'm saying. Like, there's a lot, like going to Arrowhead Field, for example, probably is a much different fan experience if you're a neutral fan than
No, I've been to
Jerry World.
Arrowhead as well.
Look at me, Louie.
There's also the weird thing with the sun. Did you have to look into the sun?
I was very excited that I had one of those games, but the sun was at my back. The coolest part about being in Jerry World yesterday was for the Cooper Rush experience, because hearing cocky Cowboy fan after that field goal goes in. I am telling you, I heard scores of people trade Dak Prescott. Scores.
Right.
I mean, they're loving it. Whoo, the Bengals. My God, Pa. That offensive line.
Well,
is
before we get all
bad.
your,
I thought they fixed it.
Before we get, didn't Lyle Collins go there and say that to Burrow, you'll never have to worry again. Your bodyguard's in town. Nobody's going to touch you.
They are really bad inside. They have the talent on the outside, and they've addressed the quarterback position. They'll be back, but this year seems like a lost season.
Were the Cowboys in play for your fandom? You love Cooper Rush. I know that.
No, actually, the most interesting part of yesterday's NFL football, and it was a great day of NFL football. Cool thing about Jerry World is, much like a lot of the NFL stadiums now, they have the red zone there. And yesterday, I had my moment when I realized I genuinely don't care about the Cleveland Browns anymore. It's not just me pushing forward and keeping this up and forcing myself. When I saw the Jets come back and beat the Browns.
You're rooting against your team now?
No, Dan. Apathy. I felt nothing. You realize if this happened last year, how devastated I'd be on that football weekend. Just devastated. Browns inventing new ways to lose. I saw that game unfold, and I felt nothing, and I was really proud of myself.
That seems hard to believe. It doesn't sound very
nothing.
human. Is it because Jacoby Brissett will kill your soul that way?
I felt
just
nothing.
generally, a lot of Browns fans feel that because Dolphin fans have felt it, and Colts fans now long for the day of Jacoby Brissett because they're going through the tattered remains of Matt Ryan. Before we get to
They
your
long for the days of Carson Wentz.
Before we get to your football analysis and before we get to your allegiances, because you're decked out in NFL gear here, and Chris Cody was mocking you, saying you looked like corporate free agent fan, didn't care, no emotions. He said all your social media was just you were there to survey the premises and see if the NFL would like to have you as a fan.
You were just like no smiling. You're just like, I'm here.
Both teams having fun. I was saying good call, Stripes. That was one of the things. After my wife can attest. You know how they have they have those field judges. There's these guys in these red NFL hats that are on suits. And I actually saw them walking out of Cowboys Stadium while I was walking out. I'm like, guys,
you look like a rep.
We did great. Where'd you get the red one?
We did great protecting the brand.
You didn't even at least bet the game to give it a little
I
feel?
bet Cowboys. I bet Cowboys. Yeah, but I just as well would have bet the other team. Like I like the Cowboys entering that game off to a rocket-fueled fire start.
Yes, you're doing great in text to me, not in our DraftKings parlays that you could share with everybody. But
do you have different versions of this, or is it just the same ones over and over, like the shirt and stuff?
Oh,
because I guess it's stinky because you've been.
No, so I wore my black shirt yesterday. I only have one of these, so thankfully the NFL dropped a whole new line. I have one shirt that it's just all 32 logos.
that can't sell well. It cannot sell well to just be NFL. Like, there's no way. That has to be bringing up the rear in things that are purchased in sports memorabilia. Whoever's running that department has to have, like, he's got to be mocked as a failure by all the other NFL people because that can't be selling.
I went to the pro shop, was very disappointed that there was just no blank NFL stuff. This is a cathedral of sport. You'd think that Jerry World would have something touting the league that he's an owner of. It's a shame.
You got the Miami Heat store having a ref jersey?
Yeah, well, I got to get one of those. I'm telling you, I'm having a blast just being a supporter of the NFL. In 2 weeks, I'm going to see Tom Brady versus Patrick Mahomes.
Nice.
And I'm just going to be clapping the entire time. There was one unsportsmanlike that I was like, no place for that. And I got very upset. I am having
You sound
a
like
ball.
George Bluth in Arrested Development in jail saying, I'm having the time of my life.
No, it's great. I am telling you, there is something to this. I am so happy every week.
Mike, you posted the video of the game-winning field goal, and you were just emotionless.
Yeah, no, that's a branding play for me.
You were just like...
That's a branding play.
Do you guys realize?
Generally, I feel nothing but joy. Like inside, I'm like, yeah, that field goal goes in, but two teams play. They both have fun. I'm good.
Mike, you never root for a team again? Is that where we're headed?
I don't think I am.
Wow.
Here's the only way that if one of these atmospheres really comes out and grabs me, and that might actually happen in Buffalo, where they might physically grab me
you.
against my will. I'm really loving this.
We are
This is the best thing I've ever done
Well,
from a
look,
fan perspective.
I want you guys to notice what's happening with the emotions of the room. All right, Jessica's a little sad because the Steelers are
Please don't speak for me.
They're
I
only
am,
one
I
of
am
your-
perfectly fine.
they're only
today.
one of your 8 teams, but she knows that she's headed for Trubisky 14-point land. Billy and Chris Cody are totally unreasonable about where their expectations
I have
are.
an important update on that. I've been tracking. The jersey has shipped.
Wow, that's quick.
Scheduled arrival
Billy
September 21st.
is now officially Tua. He has bought merch.
2 in. Not sure if it's gonna fit or not, but I'm not. Listen, I'm being fat shamed over by Tony, who looks like a totally different person with that stupid haircut.
Whoa.
I'm not going to respond to that.
Back
Dan.
to the
Sorry.
show.
Nor should you.
Yeah.
It's
Dan hasn't commented on it either, by the way. He's looked at me 3 times and hasn't said anything, so I'm just going to keep it.
I know what you're doing, Stugotz, for the sake of the marriage. Look at him and tell me that's the same person, because there's no way you're looking at him the same way.
Stugotz is the person we should be asking.
From the neck up, it is a totally different person. But I'm only concerned with the neck down.
Is it a good Jesus?
What?
Hell yeah.
Any particular reason you
Yeah,
did that?
You're not even being clever with it. You're just straight up sexually harassing him at this point.
Yep.
Back to our NFL fandom. Witty's just rooting to be right about Tua.
Thank you.
To get us back on track.
There's a lot of that. I kind of recognize it a little bit, Witty. Like it's clouding your analysis. You just want to be right so badly about Tua that you can't just
You
sit back
recognize
and
it, huh?
appreciate. Yeah, been there, man, but no longer. I have purged myself of that, and now I am living my best life. And I am telling you, by the end of this season, you're all going to be rocking the shield. I'm telling you right now.
Mike, you got to
so
go to the
happy.
Super. Mike, you have to go to the Super Bowl because at the store in the convention center where they have the NFL experience, everything there is just selling you. There's very little team gear. It's just here's football stuff.
Valhalla. Oh, the Super Bowl, a celebration of 2 of the best football teams. Oh, I cannot wait. I am genuinely so happy. This has done wonders for my mental
It's
health.
really a celebration of the sport, Mike,
Yes.
more than anything. The
Right.
teams are irrelevant at the Super Bowl. You're just celebrating football for a week.
God bless football.
At the Super Bowl, they have the NFL logo as the logo 50-yard line.
Yeah.
Midfield. Yes, I know. You're getting excited,
You'll have
aren't
to tell
you?
me twice ago.
If you want to be a fan of the sport without all of the other, corporate things that go into it and the money and all of the fandom, why don't you just be a college football fan?
Oh, I'm that too, but that is
Pure amateur football.
No. yeah, pure. That was something. That okay. No, we joke around. It's a cult, not a cult. It's a cult. It's a cult. It's a cult. It's a culty cult. But it's also super fun, and they're also super nice, as people would be if they wanted you to join their cult. That's why they're nice.
Can you give us like a weird experience or two that your interactions maybe like what was it like for you?
Well, a huge bummer was my car rental. It died while I was tailgating. It was I was getting to the drop of Fireball and it was like bah, 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 bah. And it's a shame the car died. And so that was a problem because I needed to be in Dallas for the second leg of the Texas two-step. And shout out to the car rental place. I called them. I'm like, hey, this car died. It's not my problem. I need a new car. The car rental center is in Houston. Someone got in my rental car, drove it over to my hotel, had one waiting there for me. So shout out to the nameless car rental center for making sure that I got to the Cowboys game in time. But that was a real bummer. But what was awesome was the atmosphere. There's the 107,000 people. You feel it. They're down on your neck. They are mad weird. It's odd. They're doing their dances. They're doing the U upside down, which, as you know, Dan, is a trigger for me.
It enrages you.
It
Yes.
is a trigger for me. I gave a lot of people the finger, the middle one. I gave a lot of people the
This
middle
does
finger.
not fit though. This does not fit with you're headed into professional football, and what you're describing is just general rooting. A very general
Joy.
Just general rooting.
Joy, I actually think you're the person that got me on this track because you kind of divested yourself from the Dolphins' emotion. Maybe the team did that for you, but the way that you experience football Sundays, it's basically football rah-rah. And
Super interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting things are happening.
Yeah.
Popcorn is popping.
It is actually the perfect way to cleanse myself. If my college team lets me down, there is no letting me down on football Sundays. And now I get a doubleheader on Monday night. Are you kidding me?
Well, this is the group.
about the gambling side?
They can't talk enough about when you got the snowflake. You don't want the snowflake near you, but when you got the fire in fantasy, they
need the flames.
They've been
Thanks.
talking.
the flames
they've
are the
been
best.
talking
Yeah.
nonstop in this language. But Billy, before we do that,
Wow, guys, Witty got paid out 2 weeks in a row now.
2 weeks in a row, I've gotten paid out in the LeBatard and Friends contest. What is it? dkng.co/LeBatard if you want to participate.
Wow. Yeah.
Billy, you have you've gotten into all of this fantasy stuff as well. But as soon as Mike Ryan arrived and he hit the "Look at Me, Louie," it made me think. I didn't know whether you wanted to get out there publicly with the shocking take that you had about David Beckham, because I don't. It's too late
Well, I guess
now.
we're here now, aren't
I'm
we?
in too deep now because you were accusing him about being a "Look at Me, Louie" with his grieving.
I said David Beckham. Not sure that we were waiting in that whole line, and I don't know why we had to make that a thing. A little look at me, Louie, going to visit the Queen Mom.
12 hours waited with the people.
13 hours. I mean, spent 12 of it on TV.
I read
Yeah.
14 hours.
Yeah.
It was amazing.
There's no
I
way.
read 24 hours. I'm not even kidding. I read 24
Beckham?
hours for the line.
He got
The
in that
line, yes,
line
but
as
not
soon as he
Beckham.
found out she was ill.
Yeah.
Beckham, you're not. Which part are you not believing that he is?
Any of it, really, if I'm going to be honest. You think David Beckham was standing in line with commoners
It was
for 14
documented by
hours?
television
Well,
cameras.
It's called
please.
it's called a Q, first of all. So
Hmm.
we should probably get that right.
I don't understand the cynicism because there are also people in Britain who are getting criticized, politicians namely, for allowing their friends to cut the line so they can pay their respects to the Queen. You have David Beckham, who could very easily call any connection in the world.
And every news platform to go document it.
David Beckham is surrounded by cameras at all times.
There is no shortage of news outlets
but
covering
Whitting-
the Queen's funeral.
Whittingham, the line was 24 hours. Beckham did it in 13. So explain that. He cut someone, right?
No,
we should criticize him.
I mean,
came 24 thereafter.
Stugotz, how many people would you call to get to the front of that line?
I wouldn't wait in line to see someone who's already passed away. Can we leave the Queen alone? I mean, can we bury her already? Can we put her
Stugotz,
6 feet under?
There's a process.
No.
It takes 10 days.
This
It's
poor-
outlined.
this
It's been
poor-
outlined for
No, get outta
hundreds of
here.
years.
This poor lady, we are taking her around. All she wants to do is rest. Okay, it's over.
In peace.
We are taking her around these back roads up to Scotland, here, there, everywhere. Just let the lady rest, okay? I know that she mapped out the entire plan after she passed away, but I'm telling you, if she was alive right now and she looked at her plan, she would have said to herself, what a horrible plan. Just listen, when I pass away, put me 6 feet under, call it a day.
She wouldn't
That
have
is
wanted
it.
any of this.
Yeah.
None of it. And then
Enough.
old Rosie Ruiz Beckham over here making
Right.
a big deal about waiting in the line. And then you wonder, how did he get to the front? I don't know.
Stugotz, I think you're Jewish, and Jewish customs are that you're buried very soon after passing away, correct?
Yes.
So, I mean, it's maybe that's just your preference because that's what you were used to in your religion.
I'm telling you, if she had the choice right now, if she can come out of that casket and say, hey, if I had to do this over again, just put me 6 feet under. Back roads through Scotland, let the lady rest. She's done enough.
She did pass away in Scotland at Balmoral, her summer estate.
She already made the trip then. I mean, time for the trip underground, you know? I'm not saying this to be mean. I'm saying this is what she would want.
No,
You're protecting her.
I think
This is
Leave
a
the Queen alone.
This
Exactly
is a
right.
vigorous
Yes.
defense of her.
Lots
Yes.
of selfish people
These
now.
animals who need the need to.
And, yes, and how? Listen, go to work. For 3 weeks, you've been standing on the side of roads watching a casket drive by.
Get back to work.
Get back
England.
to work.
Okay, get back
And
to
leave
work.
the Queen
Stugotz,
alone.
I think
she worked for 98 years.
96.
Whatever.
I
Fine.
haven't, get back to work. I haven't seen you since before she died. That's a real stat.
Just let her rest, Mike.
It's not too much to ask.
I think we're all just a little afraid to say anything because there's been a lot of discourse policing on social media. For example, I texted Chris Cody a few weeks ago. Well, after she passed away.
It's happening. It's in the drafts.
All right. Jokingly giving him an idea for his Twitter account. I won't say what the idea was. And he said
It was
that
the Queen died. The slow report.
he had already gotten admonished on Twitter for making a joke about something similar.
I did. The slow report has already deleted a tweet that like.
Oh, Jesus, you can't do
It was a
that.
couple weeks ago. It was my second tweet because the first one was a banger. The first one, the Juan Soto one, was a banger. So I was like, so the next day I was like, all right, I gotta come strong with the second day, and it was right. It was like a week after the Vin Scully passing. So I was like, all right, I'm gonna report that Vin Scully has passed away.
Like 2 years ago?
No.
No.
And I tweeted out sources, Vin Scully, and then like 2 comments right away. Too soon. Come on, Chris. Not with deaths. So I deleted it. I got scared. I didn't want to get canceled.
The slow
I'm gonna
report.
do it. But
as a fake Twitter account that's the slow report, that is satire,
right?
That is purposely 2 weeks behind the news. You're afraid.
But I'm not afraid to do it with the Queen because America has shown me you can make jokes about this. This is open game for joking. People have done it a lot, so I'm going to now send out a tweet from the slow report.
This is open for joking. Why? Why is this?
I'm just
allowed?
saying. I've noticed Twitter. I don't know if you guys noticed. It was
1776, Dan.
Twitter was very quick to start making jokes about the Queen passing. I thought it was a little insensitive, but I'm not gonna. If they're gonna do it, I can do it.
Excellent leadership as always from you. Forever the
He's not
follower.
going to make any of the jokes, but he will laugh at all of them privately.
I'm just reporting the news.
Yeah.
And he's making sure he gets it right. Is that such a crime?
Elizabeth with a Z, right? Not an S. All right.
What was the cultiest thing that you got ensnared in at Texas A&M? I do think it's funny that Jimbo Fisher has cashed in an awful lot as we watch the remnants of Jameis Winston's career in Game 2, playing with 74 broken ribs, and the Bucs just saying afterward, their cornerbacks being quoted as saying, "Well, you saw what happened last year when he was on our team. We knew we were going to get the ball thrown to us." Jimbo Fisher is somebody who's terrible at quarterbacks. He gets that quarterback and is terrible at all the others, and they're not any good.
No, they're not very good, but they're also 5 years into their program. So when they suspend a bunch of DBs, their 4th and 5th DB guys are better than most teams' first guys. That what happened on Saturday, I actually thought is encouraging because the game went exactly how we thought. Miami, once that Restrepo news hit midweek, you knew that Tyler Van Dyke didn't have anybody that he could trust. By the way, Xavier Restrepo would be the punt returner, and we saw that game turned on that muff punt. That was Texas A&M's most explosive play. Brad Johnson's kid is not a good quarterback. Miami outgained them. They had 27 first downs.
Well,
They just didn't punch it in the end zone.
His first start, though, right?
No, he started at LSU.
Okay.
Yeah.
First start at A&M, I should say.
Yeah.
Mike, you're not doing the moral victory thing, though.
No,
right?
it's not a moral victory.
Cristobal did that, and it upset me.
No, it's not a moral victory. The encouraging thing is you have 2 guys in Mirabal and Cristobal that said that they were going to fix an offensive line, and they did. They did not fall on their face in a primetime game, even though it's very embarrassing to not score a touchdown. A couple years later, one more offseason, you address wide receivers in the portal, you recruit hard, you start sacking talent, and you won't have yourself in a situation where a Xavier Restrepo injury is devastating to your chances of winning. So I'm very encouraged by it. The game went exactly how we all thought. That's year 5 for Jimbo Fisher in Texas A&M.
My point is he's made a lot of money there. He made a lot of money there.
85. That was the banter that I was giving back at people. I'm like, $85 million buyout to have a one-score
Deserve every
win.
penny.
To have a one-score win over a fairly anemic Miami team is not the greatest look for Texas A&M, and now their schedule gets really hard.
Well, I think one of the concerns, and you can tell me if you're concerned about it or not, is Mario Cristobal having the same conservative tendencies at Miami that he was known for at Oregon in terms of not going for touchdowns, not trying to, get a kill shot, managing the clock poorly and drives poorly at the end of the game. Like, do you think those are things that he'll actually change?
We were conservative, but I think we had to be in that game. I would have liked to see them not kick that field goal when they were inside the 5, but the whole plan was, as I've told you for months leading into this game, they were going to muck it up and try to make it tight in the fourth quarter and see if they can make plays. I'd say that the argument for having a more conservative approach was there once Restrepo went down. I think they were probably too conservative in their earlier games against Bethune.
But they had 27 first downs. You're saying that they moved the ball.
Here's
even,
what I mean,
even
though.
with drops, even with missed throws from Van Dyke, it wasn't perfect in the game.
They didn't give their receivers any opportunities earlier in the season to gain confidence. And for Tyler Van Dyke to gain confidence in them. My main mental image of that is Tyler sitting in the pocket with loads of time, hopping on his feet, trying to see who can make a play. They had 7 drop passes. They didn't make one contested catch. They were bad. Like we knew that they were bad entering this season, entering this game. He lost his safety blanket. They lost the game. It'll be fine. They're going to get better. I'd be way more concerned if I were a Texas A&M fan. I think Miami's going to get better as the year progresses, and certainly as the years progress. And yes, I know that was a book out on Mario Cristobal that he was conservative at Oregon, and that conservative approach actually worked. They had no business winning that Ohio State game last year. So I'm going to believe in the process and have this coach.
You sound like you're
classes.
giving press conference.
No, but it's
It's
just,
weird, Mike.
You got to believe in the
I
process.
don't like it.
Miami was a
Mike, you
5-point
lost
dog.
to a team that lost to
No,
Appalachian State.
That's what Dan says when he wants you to get emotional and cry. He accuses you of being.
No, but I mean, he's sitting here talking about UM.
He did it
and
with me last weekend.
Restrepo-less, the Restrepo-less UM. Like, these are 2 second-tier programs. Both of them, Texas A&M and Miami, are second-tier programs. They're not Nebraska embarrassing. They're not in that anywhere in that realm.
Texas A&M has plenty of signs around town that say we beat Bama. They beat Bama last year. They have loads of talent. There is a talent discrepancy there between the 2 teams. Jimbo has this really conservative offense, and they got the muff punt. They got the win. What do you
He
want
doesn't
me to do?
find quarterbacks after Jameis Winston. He made all his money off of Jameis Winston.
They have a highly touted freshman quarterback that
We don't have any evidence that he'll be good.
No,
right?
I think that there are legitimate questions about Jimbo Fisher. I'd be worried.
But that's sort of the point, though, isn't it? Like for
But
me,
you think Miami is at the point, given what we saw last year, to make up all that ground in one off season?
no, I don't. But
Yeah.
I think
Appalachian
But
State
to me,
did.
what Saturday proved is that Mario
good.
Cristobal is going to need to make it up in recruiting, and he probably will because he's very good at it. But that game was there for the taking for the Miami Hurricanes.
Yeah, which
they
is
should have absolutely won that game. At a certain point, Texas A&M was not going to score any more points, and they kicked 5 field goals. They ran on a 3rd and 6 with the intent to kick a field goal to make it an 8-point game. They were not trying when it was there for the taking with
let
just
them
a
off the
little
hook.
bit more of an aggressive approach.
I see what you guys are doing.
Get him
They
a
had-
wheelbarrow.
They let him off the hook. Guys,
What are we doing?
They
Yeah.
had the plays.
You should be
Guys were
pissed,
open.
man. That
They
guy cost you
dropped-
thousands of dollars to watch him lose.
Yeah, bad trip.
Well, just for the record,
Go
Mike,
send him
I'm
an
not,
invoice.
I'm not.
What are you guys doing?
I'm not piling on because
You
I think there are
lost.
some similarities
money where your
here
mouth is.
with having a first-year head coach that's coaching a little conservatively and doesn't have the players that you think they will probably have by year 2 and 3. So there is a little bit of wait and see, and then there's also the question of like, but wait, aren't we Miami? Shouldn't we have like how did this program get to be this way?
I think there's-
And so that's kind of the internal frustration as a fan with like the expectations being really high because you are a brand name and you have a lot of hopes for your program, and then a coach coming in that you're like, I think this guy's going to be great, and then the results on the field aren't there yet.
Right. No, it's definitely like losing at home to Marshall.
John Ruiz isn't paying this guy $8
You
billion.
you played 2 games so far against Bethune-Cookman and
Southern Miss.
Thank you for mentioning
So-
Marshall. Real quick, Mike also, part of his great gambling over the last few weeks is that all the Sunbelt teams that won the week before bet against them the next week when they go back in the conference, and all of them looked vastly less impressive the next week. That's something that happened.
I
But
lost that money line on Troy too. That Appalachian State Hail Mary was a gut punch. Thankfully, Bowling Green beat Marshall, who beat Notre Dame earlier in the season.
Yeah,
So I guess that
That's a stupidity curse.
by the transitive property, then we can also say Bowling Green's better than
Well,
Notre Dame.
I
since we
wanted-
beat the
Ryan Day
Appalachian State
came on
Bag.
and he won. I mean,
well, but I want to ask Billy and Stugotz
I was
about.
defending you, Mike, by the way.
Me too.
So for the rest of the season, watch out, all right? Watch out now. There's
It's
there's
on.
no friendship here anymore. I was trying to be nice.
Not
I wasn't
friends.
trying
You
to
and me,
bury
not
the dagger.
friends.
Watching Miami was painful. I took a 2-hour nap during that game because nothing was
Wow.
happening.
Started so late.
Yeah, 9 o'clock
Oh,
start.
no.
9
Night
o'clock
one.
start.
Right.
Yeah,
I
no
drank an
thanks.
Aperol Spritz, took a 2-hour nap, woke up at midnight. There was still a quarter left, and no one had scored.
People want
It's not right.
People
It was
want to eat your
boring.
tears, Mike. You can't be general fan about UM the way you are about the NFL.
We're building a program here. This is year 1. You're not.
We're building a program.
I mean, we should spend some of that NIL money on kickers, huh? Not on this quarterback.
You mentioned Marshall, and
So
it brings
true.
up. You mentioned Marshall and Stupidity. Stugotz.
yeah.
I saw that Coach Charles Huff was on Stupidity.
Coach H.
and he offered you sideline tickets and the ability to call the first play.
Yes.
Yeah.
That was under the umbrella of his team would still be undefeated when they got to Appalachian State.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, they lost. It would have been a great time with Coach Huff.
It was going to be, honestly, we were building up to the game of the year. Appalachian State was going to head over to Marshall. It was going to be the two Cinderella teams of the season.
Yeah.
And Coach Huff told us if he kept the train on the tracks heading up to it, we can go do the show from there. Stugotz could call a play. We can see different tunnel. We can
But
have silent
Stugotz
pass,
was
all that
rooting
stuff.
to not have to do any of that.
Why?
You
why-
bet your
no
ass I
way.
was.
I'll spend all night out in Venice. Then make castles in the sand. Santa Monica's calling. But I'm here to cover the Rams. I'll stay in and avoid chateaus. If I booze, then I'm on Skid Row. Just one drink to begin. Not like that's a big sin. Just one beer, then we're gonna go to the Super Bowl.
Now, Mike, you know we're here to cover the big game. It's a time to be professional and avoid all the temptations the City of Angels may have to offer. Ain't that right, Jess and Kate?
That's right. We're just here to ask quirky questions to grown men wearing their full uniforms without pads in a convention hall.
Oh my God, is that George Clooney? It is!
Baby, one scotch at the Roxy.
Come on now!
One shot at whiskey a go-go.
There we go! Now we're drinking to avoid temptations, but a job to do. Professionals with a drink or two. Just a thin bowl of gin, and then I'll be locked in. After gin, then we're gonna go to the Super Bowl. To the Super Bowl. Super
I mean, we have been locked up for a while.
Yeah, there's no rule against covering the big game and enjoying La La Land.
Wait a minute, it's the Walk of Fame. So much to see instead of the big game. And the traffic is bad on La Brea. So come on, join me in popping tequila.
I'm just here to drink and find Lewis Hamilton. Hey guys,
You gonna shotgun a beer or what? I don't feel so good. I am genuinely fucked up right now. Let's do another round of shots. One more round.
It's showtime, buddy.
Racism, greed, trauma to brain and spine. And yet, I cannot look away. Heroes are dead. Science has their heads. Oh, is there no escape? So, no.
We've got Stugotz's weekend observations to get to. Funniest thing from the sports weekend as well. Stugotz just waddled into the studio here, and he's doing finger guns because evidently his gambling has been okay, and he's just navigating week 2. He says, I'm 1-2. I really need a 3-2. And he's like, bad week, kids. Tough week. And I'm like, isn't that every single week in the NFL? Every single week. Like, how many people do you have going 5-0 and 4-1 regularly? Because every single week in the NFL, something confusing happens, or you get 3 results yesterday at the end. Like, that's not... You're feeling pretty good if you took Baltimore -3.5. If you took the Browns -6.5.
-6. You're feeling great. Not pretty good.
If you took the Las Vegas Raiders, you're feeling good throughout that game until, oh my God, never mind. It's not about coaching. It's not about contract clauses. They've just got a video game back there, and he can run around, and everyone's tired at the end of the game, and you're trying to catch a fly with chopsticks, and I've never seen anything like it at quarterback. And they're 1-1, and they look like they stink. They look like they're not any good, but he just won a playground game yesterday.
But what we're talking about, we really shouldn't be talking about, is me and Mike and Chris Whittingham. We're in a suicide pool. And the first rule of the suicide pool is to not discuss the suicide pool. I only bring it up for this reason.
Don't bring it up.
We don't get to select the games. The games are given to us. And the games they gave us this week,
It's a pick'em pool.
It's a pick'em pool. The games that were given to us this week were very difficult games. That's the only point I was trying to make to Dan. So, and I was in first place after the first week.
That's the point that you were trying to make.
That too. Yeah. Little 5-0-ski.
And Stugotz, it doesn't take. Imagine what's happening around here. You got delusional Dolphin fans running into each other, pinballing off of the walls. Stugotz is thrilled with his Jets in 1-1. Ridiculously.
He just had the most improbable win. You can make an argument that was the most improbable win in NFL history.
Mm-hmm.
The win probability for the Cleveland Browns was 99.9.
Yep.
So many things had to break right for the Jets to make that comeback. Nick Chubb, who has previously displayed a willingness to not score the touchdown and go down, doesn't. He actually scores a touchdown. Cleveland misses the extra point. Then New York gets a lucky touchdown, totally broken coverage.
Lucky.
Then they get the onside kick. Mari Cooper doesn't wrangle that ball in, and then they score a touchdown and then the go-ahead extra point, all within a minute and
55 seconds.
A minute and 55 seconds with no timeouts.
Meanwhile, as all of that is happening, Nathaniel Hackett can't count. There's an NFL head coach who's had
that makes me sad. What do we do about that? Do we go to clock school again? Remember when Andy Reid used to have bad clock management problems? He got over it. Is there hope? It's really bad. It's sad.
Hackett kind of feels like Freddie Kitchens a little bit. It's like jumping off the screen.
His last name literally starts with Hack.
He can't hack it.
Just unfortunate name.
Did these coaches get worse at clock management? Everything around here
Cliff
is...
Kingsbury yesterday too. Oh my God.
Man.
The delay of game penalty on the final play of the game after a timeout.
For me, it's the myopia of football people where they're just obsessed with their scheme. They're just obsessed with film study. They're just obsessed with coaching that they forget that they have to also study for the clock management portions of the game.
Trying to find out what Hackett is obsessing over because I have no evidence that he does anything well.
For me, the Broncos fans counting down the play clock. First off, fair play to them for improvising and figuring out a way to maybe solve this problem, but that is an astounding to have it for game 2.
They were trying to help.
No, they were mocking him.
They were mocking.
But like the Broncos, think about how enthusiastic the Broncos fans were entering the season. with Russell Wilson as they finally solved their quarterback problem. They have Russell Wilson in, and after 2 games, they're completely out on this team, and they can barely eke out a win against the Texans.
Well, Stugotz is doing this thing, and the way that he has reduced his analysis now, late in life, to just they won or they lost, and that's it.
We're picking apart 2 coaches who won football games. That's all I'm saying.
But Stugotz, the Denver Broncos right now, what you're watching is in a way that's a bit startling. Is I see a whole lot of people rooting against Russell Wilson. Not just Richard Sherman, ex-teammates, rooting against Russell Wilson in a way that you've had the mask taken off. He got his money in both places, but now 2 games in, that doesn't feel very good. It feels like Russell Wilson is being rooted against by America, and he was very careful to craft whatever it is he's crafted for us very, very carefully, so that would never happen to Russell Wilson. And 2 games in, because his coach looks incompetent and he's running around in circles, and it's not exciting. Let's see what happens at the end. Russell Wilson free and clear, great at quarterback. We're counting seconds because our coach doesn't know what he's doing. Like it's crazy. It's not what we're watching throughout the league as everyone gets more and more sophisticated.
And he's the last coach that I imagine ever criticize. No, Russell Wilson's the last quarterback I ever imagine criticizing. Like, he's going to be like, let's ride. No, we're good. We're good, man.
I don't know. I mean, towards the end in Seattle, he definitely...
But did he ever do it? It was all just
privately,
report stuff.
more than publicly, right?
I don't remember
Some
ever
of it,
hearing...
I think some of it leaked into the public, no?
I think it's anonymous reporting. I didn't see in his words very much. Like he's got the reputation now. You're getting all the me guys stuff, but when the thing that's rare about it is it's not a quarterback changing teams. It's ex-teammates hating a guy who helped them win a championship so much and seeming to enjoy his...
Those teammates think they won him a championship. That's the problem.
I mean, Denver Broncos got Brock Osweiler $50 million or $80 million. Like, there are plenty of defenses that have won for a quarterback without hating Brock Osweiler, and Brock Osweiler would give you plenty of reasons to hate him with his play.
Yeah, but Brock didn't come out and kind of give off, hey, I'm the reason we won here. Russell did. It's different.
But he was. Him coming in at value is why they won. They had a great defense, but him coming in at value is why they could pay all those guys. Then it broke up over money. Now he goes to Denver and gets a bunch of money. And 2 games in, be careful what you wish for.
Remember when Greg Jennings and Jermichael Finley would go at Aaron Rodgers in ways that confused us several years ago? And as time goes on, you realize what might have happened there is Aaron has his issues even in his own family. I didn't think this was the deal with Russell Wilson. You'd always hear some stuff there, but for Doug Baldwin to be going at Russell Wilson, Russell Wilson helped make your pro career. It's like that scene in Draft Day where Kevin Costner discovers that none of the teammates go to the quarterback's birthday party, and he puts them down on his board.
It's just like that.
It is.
He seems like Alex Rodriguez of football, doesn't he? Oh boy! Between the money, the public persona. That's right. And trying to present something in public as to who he actually is. I think a lot of fans kind of see it as a bit phony.
Huh. I think it's more corny. It's not phony. I
it's
think I
corny.
think he actually believes a lot of the stuff he's saying. I think he thinks he's cool.
Well,
Like, he thinks people should
that-
think he's cool.
He thinks the TikTok dance of pointing his phone toward family, faith, friends, he thinks that's cool.
I think when he first saw that his videos of him being like, Broncos Nation, let's ride. When he saw that trending, he at first was like, yeah, people think I'm cool. And then he realized, oh, they're all making fun of me.
Could he redo the TikTok, but just put clock management as one of the options so I have some evidence that they care about it?
Get on that.
Did you guys see that security guard get his legs wiped out in the Cardinals game? And then the broadcast just didn't mention it. Like, everyone
He was
saw
bleeding.
it. No, that was a different person. There were a lot of
Yeah, I was at the Cowboys game where the dude holding up like that big dish with a microphone in it, he got jacked up.
Wow.
You guys realize what we're watching on Sundays where the regular human beings off to the side of the field.
It's so wild when the football reaches the civilians.
I felt
just
bad.
familiar with that level of speed.
The guy had his back turned. They all have their backs turned to the end zone, looking into the crowd, probably trying to make sure people aren't like throwing stuff into the end zone or like coming onto the field, whatever. And so he had no idea the play was behind him. And I think it was Zach Ertz like slid into his legs. everyone saw it. It was where the ball was. And then the broadcast just didn't, like, why not give us an update and just, like, tell us if the guy's okay? Like, he's a person. I want to know if he's okay.
The coolest part of the football weekend, if you can encapsulate it into one play and just, like, why that sport is so amazing is, do you know what you would look like if Max Crosby was chasing you? I'll give you a 10-yard head start, and I say just make it over this line. Don't try to throw a pinpoint dart for a touchdown. Don't try to scramble it in 20 yards away. Just survive. He's 10 yards. You got 10 yards to survive. The fact that Kyler Murray was able to escape, not just that, evade that, scan the field, also have the power to shake off an attempted tackle, and then make the plays down the end. And it was just an unbelievable display of, sometimes football can just be who's more athletic.
And yet my friend is still criticizing Xavier Howard for not being able to chase down Bateman.
Right.
He's like, come on, try harder. I'm like, dude, Bateman is fast as shit.
He couldn't chase down Lamar Jackson either. He couldn't.
But still, like, to act like Xavier Howard's not trying to catch him.
There were 2 plays yesterday, and these are not even the top level of athletes, though they are. They haven't been the guys that you associate with greatness in that sport. Swift, the running back for the Lions, Mariota, the quarterback for the Falcons, both of them fell down on plays, tripped. Swift, it was 3rd and 15. He got up before anyone could touch him and scampered into the end zone. Mariota fell down on a 4th down, scrambling on a rollout, got up and completed the pass. The speed, I would love to see any one of us in a backfield taking a pitch. I would love to see what it would look like for any one of us. Just a sweep to the right. Just a sweep to the right. Any one of us just in full gear.
You don't think one of us can get a yard?
No, I believe that all of us would wet ourselves. That the speed of everything happening out of there would, and the size and the snorting.
I could run out of the back of the end zone like the Rams did yesterday intentionally, like without a doubt.
You know what I could do? That Dabo Swinney run down the hill.
Oh, I can't.
I could do that.
I could not.
That's
do
tough.
that.
That was very tricky.
That was very dangerous.
I actually put
always
Clemson
fall.
in my own personal power rankings. Clemson's higher now because I saw Dabo do that.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's a big risk because if he falls,
look at me, Louie.
No, but
sure.
it's a big risk because if you fall, you're losing all your recruits. Like, there's no way to sprint down that hill and face
Do you
plant.
think he's practiced it?
He does it every game.
But do you think he's practiced it? That I know he does it every game, but at one point he is sprinting so fast, he's doing it to the 50-yard line. It is excessively, look at me, like a coach leading after signing for.
His knees are getting high too.
Ridiculous.
My chest hurt just watching him do it.
In khakis, and he's got to make sure the reason he's going that fast is because the people behind him will catch up to him.
Exactly, and it's a steep hill. You know, I've stood on that hill and watched games before. Your calves hurt after the first half because you're just on a weird incline the whole time. People have fallen and eaten shit on it before, but yeah, he has perfected that run.
Classic Dabo Swinney.
Coach O.
Have you guys been doing that all show? I heard.
I told him to say Bronco Nation.
Mari O Cristobal.
Carmel O Anthony.
Mark O Rubio.
Yeah.
What did you
Mari Olemieux
think?
Can we just move on with what I thought he looked like? I don't know what I never know what he looked like.
I haven't even asked the question.
I know where you were going.
Like 10
Shaquille
years,
O'Neal.
Like 15 years ago, I found out that he was Italian, and it rocked my world.
Let's do Stugotz's weekend observations here. Let's go through them because Stugotz is back. We're all happy to have him back. Let's see where we end up now.
It is time for Stugotz to share his game notes. No one in the media will tell you what happened better than my boy Stu.
Weekend observations brought to you by Miller Lite. Great taste, 96 calories, available for delivery. Dan, he hasn't moved in what feels like 5 years. Every time we see him, he is standing in the same place on the Jet sideline, wearing the same raincoat with the hood pulled over his head, even when it's not raining. He looks amazing. And if that's all he ever did, he'd be worth every penny. But Dan, yesterday, he moved. And in doing so, led an improbable comeback on the road that only a Super Bowl champion and Tua could pull off. 26 of 44, 307 yards, 4 touchdowns, no interceptions, and not a single hair out of place. And Dan, just like that, make no mistake about it, Joe Flacco is back. Joe Cool. Got a quarterback. Speaking of back, Jimmy Garoppolo, Jimmy G.
I thought you were going to go, speaking of back, Jameis Winston.
Oh, yeah.
He's playing a football game with 5 broken bones in his back.
It's game 2 of the season. Trey Lance is done for the year. Dak Prescott is hurt. The Steelers look a lot different when TJ Watt is grateful that he gets only 6 weeks and not an entire season. All of these guys are going to be broken in 3 weeks.
Yeah. Dan, you know what the C in Crimson Tide stands for?
No.
Chinny Chin Chin. I just realized I left something from last week.
Well, no.
You know what? Listen, I just keep writing, and I sometimes forget to delete. That was an observation from last week. It was the Texas game. I left it in there.
They escaped by the hairs on their chinny chin chin.
Yeah, chinny chin chin.
Week.
Close game. 21-20.
Oh, you're doing a Mary Poppins like Jim.
No. Forgot to take it out.
That's excellent work, Stugotz. Keep telling other people to work hard.
Always a sad day when someone has to return a Herbie, but it looks like quarterback Tyler Van Dyke is going to have to return his because he was named college football player most likely to step it up. Return that Herbie.
So 2 shots at our first ever NIL athlete in this show. Great.
Yep.
I can make it 3.
Mm-hmm. Every time I have boxed water, I feel like I'm drinking milk. There are many things meant to be chugged out of a carton. Water, not one of them. Top 5 things to chug out of a carton. Number 5, Minute Maid fruit punch. Delightful. You like it? I see you shaking your head.
Well, I'm with you on. I don't love boxed water either. There's something about
it's not meant to be in a box.
The less environmentally safe plastic bottle. I guess I'm used to it, but the box doesn't taste the same.
Exactly. Number 4, Welch's grape juice. Fantastic. Number 3, Nestle's chocolate milk. Number 2, orange juice. OJ. Number 1, any milk carton. It's milk.
Yeah, we'll just keep using plastic till the heat death of the universe. It's fine.
I mean, just drinking out of a carton. That's all I'm doing. Georgia. The Bulldogs. That's all I got.
That's it?
They're good.
I mean, but that's your thought? The Georgia, the Bulldogs.
Need I say more?
Okay.
Stetson Bennett going to win a Heisman?
He might.
It's wild.
Is he good, or is it just their defensive line again eating people?
He's playing a different type of football, but he's good. He's improving.
He really is.
Did we see what Shane Beamer did this weekend? South Carolina had a bunch of people in the end zone at the start of the second quarter, and Shane Beamer was screaming at them to get off. And the camera cut to him, and he was very upset. It was Georgia's ball. And then after the game, University of South Carolina soccer players said that was them doing a thing to honor all the female athletes at the school for 50 years of Title IX, and that they were screamed off the field after 15 seconds.
I'm sorry to laugh at that.
Yeah, you had the optics of Shane Beamer screaming, "Get the F off the field."
Nepotism, Shane Beamer.
The greatest athletes of that program's history. Some of the only programs there at that university that have done any winning.
Like it would have been any different if that timeout was 30 seconds shorter.
Exactly.
He gets mad testy whenever he has to play Georgia.
I mean, wouldn't you?
No, he does. Last year, he's like, what would you like me to do? They have a 200-pound advantage inside. What would you like me to do?
They have 42 5-star recruits. I have 3 4-star recruits.
Get out of here, Phil. The women at that school have actually won a national championship recently.
Here's his latest hit, getting testy after Georgia, which is, I hope he stays long enough for this to be an annual tradition. Shane Beamer
This is a different one. It can't be as good as the last one. The first time he did this, when he introduced us to Georgia's defensive line, was totally ridiculous. It can't be better than that one.
Sense any give up in the locker room? Hell no. Kind of questions that, Phil. We're 1-2. We're 1-2. We got a bunch of fighters in that room, and give up. That's not a part of this football program. Get out of here, man.
Phil.
What did Phil do? Let me hear the beginning of that. I'd like that forevermore as something dismissing any reporter's question that you don't like. Call him Phil.
Hell no. Kind of questions that, Phil. Hell no. Kind of questions that, Phil.
Get the sound of how he talked about Georgia last year.
Not one, but two tonight for Monday Night Football. Or as some might say, a little double dip. Nothing worse than the Uber driver who spends your entire drive giving you all the reasons he doesn't need to be an Uber driver. Ever get one of those?
I mean, yeah.
Jesus. Well, just drive me and shut up.
Here's the sound of Shane Beamer. Last year, he had to go up against that great Georgia defensive line.
Just what were they doing to maybe make things physical on the offensive side and maybe being able to get a push?
Who was doing?
Georgia's defensive line. What were they doing to maybe make things difficult on the offense?
They've got like 100 5-star football players on their defense. They have a defensive lineman that weighs 340 pounds and runs better than everybody on this call. They've got 5-star defensive backs. They're big and physical and fast. I mean, other than that, they're really freaking good. That's why they have the top defense in the country. They're hard to run the football on. So there wasn't some magical scheme they came out with tonight. They got 5-star recruits everywhere, and they play really physical. Damn.
Yeah, Phil.
Bad news. Justin Herbert has fractured his rib cartilage. Good news. His flowing locks and beautiful face are perfectly intact. Also, make it to the playoffs. Phil Mickelson wants the PGA Tour and the Live Tour to come together. Dan, you know what Phil wants?
His cake and eat it too.
Yes, very good. That's what Lefty wants. Amazing. Purdue had a 6th-year senior and a 7th-year senior on their roster.
What kind of questions that, Phil?
So good.
Hey, 6th-year seniors.
Phil.
And 7th-year seniors.
Hell no.
Here's an idea.
Phil.
Get a job.
Hell no.
The Boilermakers.
Hell no.
North Texas has a 29-year-old starting quarterback.
It's ridiculous already. I mean, seriously. Northwestern win a game in the United States.
Phil.
The Wildcats. The whole Southwest seat yourself thing is a very, very tricky game. Top 5 things you do to discourage people from sitting in your row when you and your wife are occupying 2 of the 3 seats.
Wow. Okay.
Yes.
So you want the row to yourself on Southwest.
So we take the aisle. I take the aisle. My wife takes the window seat. We leave the middle seat open. Okay. Of course, you don't want anyone sitting there. Number 5.
Damn.
Threw me off. Sorry. Put down the middle tray table. Number 4. Put a carry-on bag on the middle seats.
This is ugly. This is an ugly side of you.
It is. Number 3. Is there any other kind? Buckle yourself in and pretend you are sleeping. Number 2. Cough. And if you can, throw a sneeze or 2 in.
Oh, wow. Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
If you can.
Yeah. Today. This is.
Otherwise, just keep coughing.
This list would have been
Right.
different 3 years ago.
It would have been.
Do you cover your mouth with the sneeze and the cough?
Absolutely not.
Wow.
You want someone to sit in that seat?
Damn.
And number 1.
If 1 through 4 don't work, Dan, fart.
Hell no.
Here come the Jays.
What kind of questions that, Phil?
LeBron, great job. And you are right. Sarver can't treat people like that and keep his team. And you know who else can't treat their people the way they do? China. Say something. Nebraska coach, Mickey Joseph, said if
did
his
that
what
come
happened.
from?
He just never said when it was really time to step up and do something. LeBron zipped it up and was quiet over a shoe deal, and it still bugs me until this day. It does. I'm sorry. It's easy when it's Sarver, when it's the Clippers, this and that. And he's right. He's right. But his words have power, and he could have used them in the absolute best way, and he didn't.
What a strange time.
I don't know
for
why I'm mad about
you to take. I don't think you actually are.
It's like he did speak out, and now we're going back to something he didn't speak out about.
Right, but if you're going to speak out about something, speak out about everything. That's all I'm saying.
Okay, everything.
I mean, Ali did.
Okay, well, that's a pretty good standard. Yes, Ali did.
Cassius Clay. Yeah.
Thank you. That's okay.
I mean, he did. Anyway.
What a strange Fox News take.
It was
for
weird.
for you to take like 8 months after anyone else was
I took
talking
it then
about
and
it.
I'm taking it now.
No, you haven't taken it at any point.
I
This is
did
the
then, and I'm
first
doing
time-
it again now. I said it then. You weren't listening, and you're right. It's a strange time. It's a weird thing to hold on.
Well,
I don't know
it's-
why I'm so mad at that guy.
Find the one
he does
place
so much good for
where
so many
you
people.
Can criticize
He really
LeBron
does.
because because
I mean, rings. Anyway. Nebraska coach Mickey Joseph said of his team's 49-14 loss to Oklahoma, "This is on me."
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Jessica. She said it. I got my own private show there.
That will remain private.
No, say it. Say it.
I
There's nothing
said
about-
you gave a Geraldo Rivera take.
Kind of questions that, Phil?
It's weird. Anyway, the coach said that loss was on him. Thank you, coach, for clearing up any confusion.
He really did. He went so far out of his way. Nebraska's so bad, and all he kept saying was, "It's on me. It's on me. It's on me." It's just like bring accountability to the news conference. But they're so bad. Like Oklahoma made them look like a team that did not belong on the field playing Division I college football.
They are bad, but honestly, like their defense is just really bad. I don't really even hate their offense.
I mean, it's not great.
How about? Did you see all the?
They're not great either, but their defense is really bad. And you're playing Oklahoma. Oklahoma, I think, is now the Big 12 favorite.
There are reports out there that Nebraska's already reached out to Urban Meyer. All the thirsty Urban Meyer
They
T-shirts.
were chanting his name. They were chanting his name. The reports he's denied him and has no interest in coaching. That part was disgusting.
That it doesn't even take a full season for someone to just forget everything there is about Urban Meyer.
Honestly, I think like how bad everything went in Jacksonville was probably good because everyone forgot how things ended at Ohio State.
Yeah,
he got
that's
suspended there.
He's getting that job.
Damn.
You think?
I have no idea.
He's definitely got to get another job. I don't think he can help himself.
Straight to Nebraska, though?
I don't even know if he would be a good head coach there. Like
He probably thinks that no, I can get something better.
What did Kansas do in the portal?
Kansas is good this year.
They're
3-0.
Kansas has been the worst program I've seen for 15 years.
There's a lot of
Nebraska
three.
looks like Kansas.
There's a lot of 3-0 teams though. Are they one of the good, like
Duke-
Indiana?
Duke
I believe
is also
3-0.
3-0.
I don't know if Kansas
wanted
is
game
good.
day there.
I know Kansas is scoring.
Kansas, didn't they win at Houston?
Yes.
Like,
They
Houston,
have-
Houston's a damn good program.
How do you know?
Houston stinks this year.
I mean, come on.
They have a head coach who won at a lower level and now is winning at Kansas and has a good offense, and they're actually fun to watch. Not your grandpa's
They're
Kansas.
scoring 40 plus. One of the games was an overtime game, but they're scoring.
That was
Kansas is
disrespectful to the MAC. I'm sorry. Buffalo, I'm sorry.
But are they good?
Who?
Kansas.
Yeah.
We don't know.
I mean, for Kansas,
For
they
Kansas
certainly
is
are.
unbelievable. 3 games from bowl eligibility. That's
What,
ridiculous
what
for
was
them.
their win total for the season? There's a number of teams that Vanderbilt and Duke included that are already above the Vegas win totals for the season. That
I
was
have no idea if
rhetorical.
Kansas is good. I'm serious because beating Houston means nothing, and they
No,
haven't played
Houston was
anyone.
second place in the American last year. They were really
Stugotz,
good.
That was last year.
Stugotz, again, another football season is going to happen, and your analysis is going to be they haven't played Alabama. Like that's another football season is going to be your analysis. They haven't played anybody. They're scoring a lot of points. I don't know if they're any good or not. Don't ask me who's good. I've been wrong betting Louisville football every game for the last 7 seasons. Don't ask me who's good and who's not good.
Louisville's infuriating to watch, by the way, this season. I have no idea what they're doing.
This season, I have gotten 7 years worth of bets, always on the wrong side of Louisville. Always.
How about Kansas Duke this weekend? It's a big one.
Kansas's over-under coming into the season, courtesy DraftKings, was 2.5. They've already gone over for the season.
What did they do in the portal? Look, there has been nothing more surprising during the pandemic than seeing 40s next to Kansas's name on a scoreboard. Nothing.
It's actually more the coach they brought in. They brought in this guy, Lance Leopold, who is the former coach of Kansas, or of Buffalo. He's really good.
I just said that. Yeah. Moving on, Stugotz.
Where were we? How is Tom Brady better at the quarterback sneak than Lamar Jackson and Justin Fields? The doctor being sued by Tyrod Taylor for puncturing his lung is probably not the doctor you want hanging around the ribs of Justin Herbert. When did Justin Houston become a Raven?
Billy, every time Herbert's name is around here, you're so in on Tua that every time you hear Herbert's name around here, it's like they're tickling
Scrub.
you. You want to start ripping Herbert, don't you?
Yeah. I mean, Herbert's haircut is what Tony's haircut is, not to bring it back to that again, but.
Yeah, let's not do that.
Yeah.
24-0 over the Colts, Dan. You know what the Jaguars did? Pitched the shutout. Death, taxes, and Justin Tucker. John Harbaugh. You don't beat the Dolphins kicking threes. If your name is Michael Jackson and you have a clear path to the end zone, you are obligated to moonwalk the final 5 yards. A happy Rosh Hashanah coming up for Packers running back A.J. Dillon. Quadzillowitz. Meanwhile, no Godwin, no Julio, no Gronk, an ejected Evans. It's just Tom and Cameron Braid out there, and he's 2-0. And he hasn't gotten comfortable yet. And both games were on the road. I hate him. Dan, I couldn't believe it. I guess there really is a first time for everything. I know, like me, you sat there and said to yourself, hell is going on, while the Jets and the Dolphins were the featured teams during the witching hour. It was glorious. Speaking of hell.
It's been so long, man.
Art Briles.
Has it really been 20 years since those two teams were in the red zone together at the same time? Is it older than the witching hour and the red zone? The fact that the Dolphins and the Jets, I've gone months without seeing their football being played from 3:15 to 4:15. Am I wrong about this? That they never mind one of those fantastic finishes. They never get any of that. But
they were the talk of the NFL yesterday. Both teams were.
But both victories were absurd.
You know, like how the Colts-Texans game went to overtime and it still didn't make the red zone and it ended in a tie because of just nothing happening? Even the Dolphins' close games don't get on the red zone channel because nothing's happening.
That sport is so funny, though, because you could have made the good argument first 2 hours of yesterday. This is slop football, a bunch of nothing happening out here.
It's the same last week.
And then just a firework explosion at the end. And then Sunday keeps climbing until it's Kyler Murray running in circles. And now that they're counting the number of yards everyone runs, you know, the Ravens ran more yards as a secondary than anyone in a couple of years in the league, just chasing around Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle. Let's do funniest thing from the sports weekend here to go around the room.
Hey, people, tell us what in the sport made you laugh hardest this weekend. It is a segment we call What Made You Laugh This Weekend. Ha ha ha!
It is presented by our friends from CBD MD.
Nebraska has 385 consecutive sellouts to that. To that. 385.
That's why they fired Scott Frost. They have a lot at stake. That sellout streak means a lot to Nebraska.
But they can't be watching that. Like, those games stay close just because those two teams are always playing each other. It was shocking to see just Oklahoma take out 12 and 15-yard runs and make it look easy. Tony, what do you got? Funniest thing from the sports weekend?
Dan, Mike Gesicki's gritty was not great. And then his tweet after, man, it looks so good in my room in front of my mirror back to work tonight. So here's the thing about the gritty, right? He did the leg. You can't see it because I'm cut off by the thing, but He did the leg motion for like 20 yards. You got to throw the arms and the circles at the same time. He did it like once he was already on the sideline. It was a weird one.
It was like a podcast at 1.5 speed. Like if he would have just slowed down,
He was
it would
too
have been.
excited.
Yeah, it was
He
Very
didn't catch
aggressive.
any-
It was aggressive, Gritty.
I thought he was
Missing
mocking
integral
it.
parts.
It was
No.
so bad that I thought he was doing a thing of like, look how bad my Gritty is. He was just trying to
He
do
tried
it.
really hard, but he was missing integral parts. You got to throw the hands, and you also got to do the circles. Mac Jones and Chris did it at the
Mac
Super Bowl.
Jones being good at it is a sneaky
Yeah.
upset.
Yeah.
Chris Cody, what was the funniest thing from the sports weekend?
Notre Dame offensive coordinator Tom Rees was up in the booth, and he was shot. He was not shot. He was seen on the
What?
video, like shot like the
Yeah, what a
video
different
camera.
story, yeah.
He
To a
was,
terrible start.
shot on screen, mouthing the words. What was he saying? God, you guys got me rattled with the whole shot thing.
Shit, Chris.
Yeah, what I'm supposed to be doing right now. Do your fucking job. Is what he was seeing, not shot. What he was seeing. Can we do this again? Are we on live?
Let's start
Are
it
you
again.
okay?
Let's run it
All I
back.
had was Tom Rees, and from then on, it was just like,
Let's run it
Really
back.
wasn't even that much.
I know.
Let's try it again.
Oh, again. All right,
Go ahead.
Tommy Rees.
Wait, Dan, you have to say, Chris, what do you
Chris,
have?
what was the funniest thing from the sports weekend?
Tommy Rees giving shit to his quarterback over the phone. He was yelling.
You've lost all
Does
confidence.
not sound funny.
Whittingham, what was the funniest thing from the sports
This is gonna
weekend?
sit with me for a while.
He looked like Kendall Roy a little bit. It was like Kendall Roy vibes.
The Texas A&M police Twitter account chronicling the events at Texas A&M and the University of Miami. One sample: public intoxication, section 418. Release to sober friend, ejected.
That was
Why-
unfortunate.
Why is this why is this a Twitter account? Why can't this just be like a text message service?
It's a tattletale service. I can't believe how active they are on it too, and how willing the 12th man is to assist in this.
I mean, on the one hand, like, I think if it's something that makes fans feel safer, because, you know, like, sporting events can be not fun for certain groups of people, then it's probably good. But it's just bizarre to me that it's all on a public Twitter
Right,
account.
vaping in the women's restroom. It's
Witty was hoping for that at the Kid Cudi concert.
That's who you
I'm
were
back.
texting.
Redeemed
Let
himself.
it go.
You,
I'm not gonna lie, my confidence was
you
so
were
rattled that
scared,
I
I know.
almost hiccuped on Kid Cudi. I almost like had a blank and
you-
forgot what concert it
you
was.
shook.
But I was like, Witty almost did that at what concert was it?
Van Morrison.
Jessica, what was the funniest thing from the sports weekend?
Oh man, the surrender turtle from the fan at the Miami Texas A&M game. It's a new animal. I think we're gonna see it a lot more in the crowd. Really, really a big fan of the surrender turtle.
The funniest thing from the sports weekend was your tweet.
Oh, wait. Was that my tweet? Oh my god, I was just looking at the sheet that Chris printed out.
That fan did look ridiculous.
Mike Ryan.
I wasn't talking about my tweet, Dan. I was talking about the actual fan, all right, for the record.
If I wanted, I want to select the funniest thing from the sports weekend is Mike Ryan flying to Texas and coming back talking about 27 first downs.
Yeah, you got to keep trying to make me feel bad about it. It's fine. We're building a program here, Dan.
I mean, you went there to see the assistant coach of the year produce 3 field goals.
Hey, Coy.
To me, the funniest thing of the
Mike just so
He's so
dismissive of
mad.
to me, the funniest thing of the sports weekend was I'm in a much better place right now, and you guys are trying to. We're gonna have a long mental health discussion after this show. I've been alerted to how you guys are a problem. Okay, so for me, the funniest thing of the sports weekend was Aaron Rodgers' post-game interview with Melissa Stark at Sunday Night Football. Did anybody watch this? We can't play it. Aaron Rodgers is a Southerner now. Like, he had the weirdest Southern accent. It was like Brian Kelly and my family type of
Get
type
out of here,
accent.
Phil.
It was a very bizarre thing, and it has me wondering what will happen when he does a post-game interview in Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Because you can't rule out that there's going to be a tinge of English accent. He grew up in Northern California. Where did the Southern accent come from?
Is he coming on with us?
Probably not anymore.
Stugotz, what was the funniest thing from the sports weekend?
Syracuse kicking off from the Purdue 35-yard line.
The end of that game was ridiculous. There were so many
Crazy
penalties.
game. Yeah.
Ridiculous.
Yep.
We didn't cover college football as well as I would have liked to.
The NFL does that to you.
Yeah, but I mean,
You guys spent an
Evan McPherson? The GOAT? He's a kicker.
Loses
go back and
to
listen to it.
Eastern Michigan. Loses to Eastern Michigan. Remember, we hired Herm Edwards from ESPN because he was a famous broadcaster, and let's have him lead us into the future, and it's been a disaster.
Yeah, he's gone now.
I hired him because he was famous, right? Like that's the.
We didn't do enough Eastern Michigan. I'm with you.
I mean,
At least you brought the proper energy for it.
I was defeated by you not giving me the tiers that were going to be my fuel. 27 first downs is what you went to Texas and brought back.
No, let's bring it back.
Finished second in the Pac-12 South twice.
Yeah, but they're being investigated for all these like breaking of COVID protocols. Like they hosted recruits during the dead period. Like they broke a lot of rules. Apparently he took no interest in learning any of the NCAA bylines, which like the NCAA is stupid, but you still have to like know what you can and can't do. And
these are good jobs, yes. Arizona State's not a terrible job, and Nebraska's open, and teams have gotten like a really early head start on these searches.
I don't think Arizona State taking over from this is going to be a really hard job, I think.
Yeah.
Whereas Nebraska, it's hard because there's high expectations there, and I think recruiting there is probably a little trickier, but I don't think it's as bad. Like, Arizona State is left in a bad spot here, I think.
Can we please? My funniest thing, I'm going to nominate Kevin Stefanski's kids being on the field because they thought they had won the game. Like being next to their father on the sidelines because the Browns.
That's who
the Browns are going to be smug. The Browns are going to be smug.
I was wondering
about we've got this. This is just the Jets. It's over. It's not just that the Browns lost. It's not just that a whole lot of people are rooting for them to lose, but the coach of the Browns is standing on the sidelines with his kids who have already made their way to the field because the game was so clearly supposed to be over.
That is a potentially season-nuking loss. That's one that you circle at the end of the year because they would have been 2-0 without Deshaun Watson. Thankfully, I guess for them, everybody else in that division, which is leaving a lot to be desired right now, lost too. So Thursday night is for first place in the AFC North. But to go up 2-0 with a primetime home game against the Pittsburgh Steelers on Thursday night, potentially go 3-0, and you're navigating this Deshaun Watson thing quite well in terms of wins and losses. I've seen the Browns lose a lot of inexplicable ways in my years of supporting them. That might take the cake. And the fact that it was the Jets that do it, which is almost as improbable.
Where'd Stugotz go?
Oh, he's boning up on Eastern Michigan for you.
Evan McPherson? The GOAT? He's a kicker. I mean, Tom Brady's bed's still warm. Tom Brady just left.
You're